So if you are a subscriber to the YouTube channel, awesome. You can comment in the comment section what asset you'd like me to take a look at, and we'll chart it together. So let's dive right in and make this chart a little bit bigger here. Here's Bitcoin, right? We're going to go back through a quick recap of Bitcoin and put on these longer term higher targets that were actually mapped out from way back here, right? So way back here, we had this bullish divergence, and we were talking about Bitcoin breaking out and coming up and hitting some targets longer term, right? So took a leveraged long position at 16,800, came all the way up, hit the 200-week moving average, and then came all the way up and hit target 1. Never hit target 2. Way back here, we're expecting price to come all the way up and hit target 2. It never did. Back here, we're talking about, we thought that it would still come up and hit target 2, but also put in bearish divergence. So once it put in that bearish divergence, started break back down, then we removed these targets to the upside, right? So then we had this correction, and going back to the correction from back here, we were talking about how we could see price do something like this, right? How we could see price come back down, back below the 200-week moving average, similar to silver and gold and stuff like that, right? Then we're talking about hitting 2 of the targets to the downside so far out of the 4. Never hit the 3rd and 4th target down. Well, let me erase that. Never hit the 3rd and 4th target down here around like $24,000 area, right? We were talking about how it'd come back down like this and then find support and bounce, right? We're talking about it bouncing. And then we thought that it would put in a lower high, possibly, right? We never said guarantee, right? Possibly put in a lower high, watch for the lower high, then possibly come back down like this and then take off to the upside, right? Well, it played out exactly like that for months, right? Played out exactly like that for months until it regained this area here. It broke out of this downward trend line. It broke back above the 200-week moving average, and then it never looked back. And here we are going back to putting the old targets on and hit target 2 in the longer term. Is that it? Well, the week is still early, right? The week is still early, and we still don't have a weekly close above here. But I can tell you, when it's this far above that, it seems like it's going to close above this weekly resistance, right? We were talking about, it's still possibly put in a lower high until it closes back above here on the weekly here. And the daily was around 31,600, right? So we already had a daily close back above the 31,600. And we were talking about it over the last week or two, that where we would be wrong, where we thought that there might be a lower high that gets put in. First thing I said was, if it starts putting in daily closes above 31,600 or 31,500-ish, right? And it did. We already had a daily close back above it. So if we zoom in here on the daily chart, right, and we kind of look at it here, we're talking about 31,000, call it 31,500. Well, yesterday we had a daily close at 33,000, right? So the first thing I said was, where we stopped thinking that the lower high would be put in is a daily close above 31,500. We had that. And then a weekly close back above 30,600-ish right here. So this weekly resistance, you get a weekly close above. So check mark number 1. There's a daily close above 31,000, 500-ish, right? And now if we get a weekly close back above the 30,600, that's when we're going to start thinking that this lower high wouldn't be put in, and that we would start moving to the upside and start changing our tune about Bitcoin possibly coming up and hitting more targets, right? So we're waiting and watching for that. What we're talking about, I don't know if you guys saw this, but if you did see this video here put out 5 days ago, we're at crossroads, right? Why is price lagging? So what we were looking at back there was, if you go to that video from 5 days ago, there's a bullish MACD crossover on Bitcoin, right? For the monthly chart. We just had a weekly crossover. It's still pending, still hasn't closed yet. So we have a pending MACD bullish crossover on the weekly chart, but we had a monthly MACD bullish crossover back here in July of 2023. And that was what we did that video on 5 days ago. So 5 days ago, we talked about it, and we were talking about it doesn't happen very often, right? So two things could happen. We had two thoughts to process, right? One was back here, right, where we had that bearish crossover, and you can take a deeper dive on that video as well. But I'm just going to do the quick version of it. So the quick version is we had that MACD bearish crossover back here in February 2022, and we saw price pump for a couple of months after the bearish MACD crossover on the monthly chart. And then we had a long move back down. Well, that was one of the scenarios, right? We had a bullish MACD crossover in July. Price went down for a couple of months before it made a move back up, right? The bearish case, that was the bullish case, right? The bearish case was, would it play out more similar to the Dow Jones, where we had a bullish MACD crossover followed by a quick reversal back to the downside, right? Didn't turn out to be that way as of right now. As of right now, it's looking like it's looking like the bullish case of that video that we put out here. There is a bullish and a bearish case for the MACD crossover, right? And as of right now, it's not looking like the bearish case like the Dow Jones. It's looking like the bullish case. And the bullish case was, going back to it, was on Bitcoin that, there was a bearish MACD crossover, price pumped for a couple of months, and then we shorted it to the downside. I was actually short Ethereum to the downside versus Bitcoin, just because I thought it was going to move bigger to the downside, and I was correct. It didn't move that much more, but it did have a bigger percentage to the downside and actually went below $1,000, right? So that's the bearish and bullish case. Is it still possible it still reverses back down? Yes, but it seems like, with daily closes above where it was, if we get a weekly close above the weekly resistance, and then we start seeing the MACD get it back above the zero line, right? We have a pending buy signal on the monthly chart. It's starting to seem less and less likely that the bearish case like the Dow Jones is going to play out. So we're watching it as of right now. And just because it pumps up for the next couple months, it doesn't mean it couldn't come back down to visit lower prices before the halving, right? There's usually some sort of a pump before the halving. There's usually some sort of a retracement, around the halving time. And then it takes off to, if we get another bull run on Bitcoin, which we've been talking about for the last year and a half, just give the market snipers one more bull run to take advantage of. Now that they've been trained in the sniper ways, now that they've been, we've got all these indicators, everything mapped out, hopefully we get one more bull run for Bitcoin, possibly even the crypto assets, right? That we can take advantage of it, and the market snipers can all participate. Good morning, everyone. Tesla John, go Vikings. Yep, got my Viking shirt on. We were a house divided yesterday. Me and the wifey. She's a 49ers fan. So yep, go Vikings. She didn't talk to me for a few minutes yesterday, but I made up with her, and everything's good now. But I can be obnoxious, especially when the Vikings don't have a lot to celebrate, right? We don't have championships in 44 years of my existence, right? So we have to do what we have to do. So do your target box extend? I'm not sure what you're talking about, Tesla John. Let me know. ETF, the ticker for BlackRock spot BTF has just been removed. Okay, interesting. Okay, Kiko. I'll have to take a look at it sometime. FUD. Not sure what you're talking about. Sorry, I just sent accident before my message was complete. Your target box extend indefinitely, or you think they could get hit sometime before where they end? These target boxes are, so it depends on the time frame, Tesla John. So Tesla John, we have targets, whether it's on the 1 hour chart, 4 hour chart, daily chart, right? These are based off of like the long-term macro, right? So if you've got like from back here in November 2021 down to November 2022, these are longer term targets from there. So, they're there until they're possibly not hit, right? So I'll remove them if like we're trending in the opposite direction. But if it starts to turn back around, then then that's why I put them back on. So, it's pending buy signal on RSI. MACD's getting up into that, it's already getting close to the zero line, right? Starting to get more bullish on the monthly, but the weekly chart, right? Already had that buy signal back here. Got back above the 200-week moving average again just last week with a weekly close back above. And this would be the first week, to put in a new high for 2023. So a new weekly high. But we already saw a daily candle close yesterday take out the high there. So the probabilities are continuing to decrease. That is, this rally could continue onward. Doesn't mean that on the lower time frames there's going to be a retracement. We're looking at RSI being at 87. It's currently at 87. Yesterday it hit 88, possibly even higher. Might have even hit 89 for a brief moment when it was wicking up to like above $35,000, right? So why are we talking about the move afterwards, right? Because if you missed it, I think there's going to be some other opportunities out there, right? It seems like crypto is kind of lagging behind. So we're going to take a look at that. Also, we're going to take a look at some Bitcoin miners, and I'm going to do a deeper dive on the video tonight. But opportunity alert, right? And I put this in the Discord yesterday. Opportunity alert for the Bitcoin miners, and we were talking about it, and it looks like it's starting to break out. So before we jump into that, let's look at the Bitcoin dominance. And the Bitcoin dominance, we also had these longer term targets laid out, and I never removed them from Bitcoin dominance. We were talking about it way back here, December 2022, when also we were talking about the bullish divergence on Bitcoin and taking leverage long position January 3rd at $16,800, right? Target 1, target 2, thought it could retest the 200-week moving average. It finally did, broke back above it. It's ultra bullish on the weekly chart. Target 2, it's back above. Seems like it's trending more and more in Bitcoin dominance. And getting up and getting closer. It just hit 54% this week. And the next target is right around that 55 to 56% area. And then who knows if we hit that fourth target from there. So it seems like it's trending towards hitting at least target 3, possibly target 4, and that's the Bitcoin dominance. So let's move over to the NASDAQ, and then we'll circle back to opportunity alert and at least Bitcoin. And get going. So up, yeah, still bullish on the week chart. Let's see. In just a second here. Anyways, all right. So the Bitcoin dominance still strong. If you look at the NASDAQ, right? So this is what we talked about, DXY up. Yeah, we're going to take a look at it, Kiko. We've been talking about this on all the live streams, is that the DXY is still bullish on the weekly chart. The daily chart was looking like it could have a pullback, whether it hits target 1, 2, 3, or 4, right? But the DXY is still bullish on the higher time frames, right? So in another thing in the NASDAQ, will it have a sell signal on the weekly chart finally? I think so in the near future. I think we're still leaning towards that, right? Everything's still trending down, had that bearish divergence, right? Put in a lower high, put in lower low, put in a lower low, lower high, and then a lower low, right? So after this bounce, right, letting the EMA on the weekly chart catch up, let the MACD catch up on the weekly chart, let the trending dots catch up on the weekly chart, let the moving averages catch up on the weekly chart as well for the NASDAQ. I still think we're going to see a a sell signal on the weekly chart, just as we saw it on the Dow Jones, right? Saw it back here in September, just as we saw it on the SP 500, back in September, but then also a breakdown again last week. So we're watching it all unfold. And then, of course, just like we saw on the Russell 2000 back in August, and then again back in September, right? So just thinking that NASDAQ is lagging time-wise, right? And it's currently outperforming, say, the Russell and the others. But I think it's also because the Magnificent Seven is holding up and, lagging time-wise as well, right? So that's what we're going to continue to watch. Seems like it's just a matter of time that we're going to see a sell signal on the NASDAQ, just as we saw the Dow Jones, SP 500, Russell 2000. The DXY, like we've been talking about, is still bullish on the daily chart, right? Still bullish on the daily chart. But on the daily, on the weekly chart, it's still bullish, right? But the daily chart is still underneath resistance. And we did have that bearish divergence. It did look like we put in a possible sneaky lower high, right? A lower low, and it's getting a bounce. So we'll see. The MACD is still trending down as well, right? Doesn't mean it couldn't flip back around. Just we were talking about, I'd be surprised if it only hits one target, but it doesn't mean it'll only hit one target and then bounce up, right? I mean, you could even see like where it hit here and hit here. Is that going to be a double bottom after one target? It's possible. I think it's less likely. Just seems like price is pushing back up to retest the trending dots and this downward trend line. So maybe it pushes all the way back up and then kind of rolls over after that. So if while the DXY is still bullish on the weekly chart, this is what we are watching is like, would it come back down like this and then hit like target 2 and take off, or would it come down, hit target 3? That's kind of been the theme for the DXY in over the last year and a half or so, is it's been hitting like 3 out of the 4 targets. You can see this 4th target down here never got hit. There was some profit taking down here. And then this 4th target up here was never hit. So maybe like this 4th target would never be hit. But doesn't mean it couldn't find support at target 1 and bounce, just like we've been talking about in the live streams. Could hit target 2, bounce, and so on and so on. So that's what we'll continue to watch. The weekly chart is still bullish on the DXY. 10-year yield, right? Getting a retracement from coming all the way up to 5%. This is a longer term macro target that hasn't been hit yet. The weekly chart is still bullish. Currently no longer ultra bullish, right? So, but it is still bullish. And the monthly chart is still bullish on the monthly chart, right? So it is still ultra bullish on the monthly chart. John Pye, yes, smash those likes. Our goal is 100 likes. Definitely smash those likes. Thanks, John Pye. I appreciate that. Johnny C, present. Awesome. Welcome back to the live stream, Johnny C, longtime sniper. Rick's Money Makers, Helton, let's go. Javier, what up? What up, Javier? Lucasian, damn, didn't realize the time. Off to get in the Baron. Just got on. Hopefully you still be digesting this in 15 minutes. Not really sure what you're saying, Lucasian, but welcome back to the channel nonetheless. Glad you're here. Glad you're back. Doesn't matter the time. You could always replay it, right? Replay crew, we appreciate you. Luis, good morning. Good morning, Luis. We're rocking and rolling. 10-year yield still ultra bullish on the monthly chart. Only bullish on the weekly chart, no longer ultra bullish. Only bullish on the daily chart, no longer ultra bullish, right? The VIX getting a retracement. We know this is a wild animal. It flips back and forth nonstop. We talked about this on the breakout. We would see something play out like this, boom, boom, boom. You can go back to previous live streams. Crazy, wild movements, right? Will it find support in backward trend line? Will it find support at the trending dots and then bounce, right? Weekly chart is still currently bullish. but there is a pending reversal candle. Could it come all the way back down to the trending dots, find support, and then bounce up like that? Yes, it's possible on the VIX weekly chart as well, but it could also just find support here and then bounce and go like that and hit this 4 target. There was another target down here, but I removed it just to kind of keep the charts clean, stuff like that. So VIX. Now, before we get into the opportunity alert, let's jump over to a Magnificent Seven. And again, we're just going to cover bit farms, but I'm going to take a deeper dive into some crypto assets and Bitcoin miners for opportunity alerts. Let's jump over and check out NVIDIA on the weekly chart, right? So still no sell signal on the weekly chart, right? Still got this 20% gap down here. Still watching it. Has only hit target 1 so far. Hit it, retested again, kind of letting the trending dots catch up after this big move down. That was a big move down in NVIDIA. From wick to wick, you're looking at about 11% move. That's a massive move. So it's retracing some of that, right? Letting the trending dots catch up, letting the moving averages catch up, letting the EMA on RSI catch up, right? So you've got a lower high with bearish divergence. You got a lower low here, right? A lower low here. And then you got a lower high here. And that's going to be your first lower price high on the weekly chart, followed by a lower low, right? It's continuing to trend downward on NVIDIA. It's just going to be a matter of time. It's hard to kill a bull. It takes time on the weekly chart for it to play out. It's still bearish on the daily chart, right? So you have this big move down, reversal candle plus the lower high, breakdown, sell signal, came back down this target area and is just kind of letting the trending dots catch up, letting the EMA catch up. And then in hindsight, we'll see if this is going to be a lower high again and then continue back down. MACD is still trending downward and is below the 0 line, which is also bearish. And that's one of the things we did kind of talk about when we mapped it out is like way back here, we were talking about when it could potentially put in a lower high. Will we see the MACD kind of roll over like this, go back down? I mean, that's the way it's kind of playing out, right? So it doesn't always play out exactly, but sometimes it plays out eerily similar. Eerily similar. That's so not much has changed there. Meta, we had this additional bearish divergence. We had a sneaky lower high, a lower low, and then in hindsight, is this going to be another lower high on Meta? John DeLuca, CLSK, Clean Spark. Okay, we'll take a look at it. We'll add that on. We'll go back through all the requests here in the Bitcoin miners, and we'll talk about the opportunity alert. I'm going to just spend a little bit more time on the Magnificent Seven. We'll rock and roll. Let me know if there's anything else you want to see, and we'll keep it going. So looks like Meta, this would be the sneaky lower high, a lower low here. Will this be a lower high as well? MACD trending downward, still in bullish territory. RSI still in bullish territory, but trending back down. And it could be losing steam as we speak right now. Meta, Amazon had that last sell signal back here last Wednesday, right? And it's continuing to trend downward. Will this be another lower high? Continue to be bearish. MACD is had that last MACD bearish crossover while Amazon MACD is below the 0 line. Weekly chart still had that sell signal and then had some, a little bit of a retracement back, a lower low. Is this going to be another lower high, right? Letting the EMA catch up on the RSI weekly chart and continuing to trend downward below the 200-week moving average, right? It's below the 200-week moving average. So, will it continue to be bearish or is it going to find support at some point and bounce? Because remember, Amazon, unlike most of the other Magnificent Sevens, already came back to March 2020 lows, right? So is the bottom in for Amazon? Did it rally? And at some point on this current retracement, will it make a higher low, right? Is this the low? And will it make a higher low similar to kind of what Bitcoin did where it put in a low at like 15, under $16,000. And now is it putting in higher lows, right? After a major retracement. So it looks different than like Apple, where Apple never retested the 200-week moving average, but is bearish on the weekly chart, right? Was bearish on the daily chart, still is bearish on the daily chart. So it looks a little bit different. Microsoft, is it still putting in this lower high, right? Is it starting to break down now? It seems like it is on Microsoft, right? So obviously it didn't come straight down. It's been more of a rolling lower high, right? More of a rolling lower high, and then see if it comes back down to this area, and then see if it comes back down. It starts hitting lower targets from there. So we'll see. This is a lower high. Is this going to be another lower high and then come back down from there? So that's what we're continuing to watch. That's Microsoft. Let's take a look at Tesla. Again, we talked about it. Will it find support, right? The MACD is still bearish. It could just be kind of letting the MACD catch up. It's below the zero line on the daily chart, but it did come back down very quickly. It was oversold, right? It did hit the 200-week moving average. It did hit this lower target down here. It did close below here, right? Putting in a lower low. And so this is what we're going to continue to watch, right? Will it continue to be bearish, or could it be similar to silver, where from down here yesterday, we were talking about how it could possibly bounce back up, and the day before that it could come back, bounce up, retest this downward trend line, fill this gap here, retest the trending dots, right? So that's what we'll continue watching Tesla. Was some profit taking down here? I'm sure there was, right? Even our own sniper Arnold was already talking about scaling out of his positions, right? The true sniper way, locking in profits, because unrealized profits don't mean anything. Jesse, could you watch USD MXN pair? Sure. Yeah, I can take a look at that, Javier. So just remind me on the second half of the stream if I forget about it. But yeah, I'll go back through all the comments and we'll take a look at it. So that's Tesla, still bearish on the daily chart. Let's just take a quick glance at the weekly chart. Let's get off the brush here and kind of zoom in. Still bearish on the weekly chart. Came down here, like I said, 200 moving average, hit this target here, barely pierced it, back below this trend line. At some point, you would think that possibly it could come back and retest it, fill this gap that we were talked about where I circled it here, and then possibly move on lower from there. So we'll see. That's Tesla. Apple, right? Continuing to make lower highs, continue to make lower lows. Still bearish on Apple. Has not retested the 200-week moving average yet. Will it retest it at some point? Google still holding on strong. Had that bearish divergence, right? Let's zoom in on the daily chart. So if we look at the daily chart here, had that bearish divergence, right? This could be that sneaky lower high. Will this end up being another lower high over here and then continue down, come back down to this area, retest this target, and then we'll see if it comes back down and fills this gap, these lower targets. And at some point, will it come back and retest the 200-week moving average as well? We'll see. We're taking it level by level, and we're not going to get ahead of ourselves. But we have this longer-term bearish divergence. Seems like at some point it could come back and retest this first target box, and then we'll see if it comes back and hits further targets to the downside. So let's go back. Now, let's take a look at the opportunity alert. So we'll dive into the charts today, covering Bitcoin, crypto, stocks, your requests, and more, right? So Bitfarm, right? Already hit target 1, right? So Bitfarm, we were talking about it yesterday. There was a pending buy signal, right? Pending buy signal on Bitfarm, and the targets were mapped out, right? So it was about 110, I believe it was, and it pumped all the way up to $1.26. So here's the opportunity, right? There's no buy signal on the weekly chart yet. We have a gap up here. It's not a huge gap, but we mapped out this gap up here. It's about 4% gap roughly. And we mapped out this gap down here. But again, it's not a huge gap down here. We just had it on the chart. Looks, I mean, it's bigger. It's like a 9% gap, right? So a couple things to pay attention to and be aware of, that it's possible these gaps get filled sooner or later. It's not like a massive 20% gap, but they're on the chart for a reason. Usually the gaps get filled. We just don't know when. So, but looking at the daily chart, it's possible that we could see, the weekly chart kind of flip around. It may take a week or two to flip around and become bullish. But on Bitfarm and some of these other ones, we don't even have a buy signal on the weekly chart yet, like we did on Bitcoin, right? So we had this buy signal on the weekly chart back here at, say, $28,000. And since then, price went all the way up to $35,000. So it was a $7,000 move, right? From the buy signal on the weekly chart, all the way up to the wick, 26% move, right? So could Bitfarms and the rest of the Bitcoin miners be next, right? Is possible. So we go back here, like, instead of chasing Bitcoin, looking for the opportunities, looking for Ethereum, looking for Cardano, looking for Solana, looking for Matic, right? These are all, I'll cover all those on the video tonight. They're probably going to be like a 20-minute video. I'm going to take a deeper dive on it. But Bitfarms doesn't even have a buy signal. It's not even back above the trending dots yet. So people are already talking about how they missed it, right? It's like it's so early. Yeah, we were talking about it yesterday on a pending buy signal, right? But the weekly chart's not even bullish yet, right? There was a MACD bullish crossover. We got bullish divergence on the daily chart, right? Possibly a sneaky higher low here. Higher low. Yep. Got it. Wicked all the way up to $1.26, and now it's retracing back, right? So it's retracing back. You can look at it from like a lower time frame standpoint. Came all the way up, right? Is it letting the trending dots kind of catch up? Possibly. So there could be a lot of opportunity, even from where there was a buy signal on the daily chart yesterday, right? Even from there at $1.13, you're looking at target 1, target 2, target 3, target 4. Remember, Bitcoin is back above the 200-week moving average. What if, some people talk about it so late, right? Well, the weekly chart's not even bullish yet, right? It doesn't mean that's going to happen or it's not going to happen, right? But if the weekly chart flips bullish, then in hindsight, this is going to look really early, right? It's going to look really early. And you can see, like, sometimes the first buy signals aren't the best buy signals, right? It just kind of takes time. These are wild animals. If price gets back above the 200-week moving average, 200-week moving average, very similar to Bitcoin, then you could see a massive move up. It could take some time to play out, could take weeks, could take months to play out, right? So you got the weekly chart. Let's take a look at the monthly MACD bullish crossover. We don't even have a MACD bullish crossover like we did on Bitcoin, right? So it could be lagging a couple months behind. It could take some more time to play out. But then again, these are fast movers, right? It takes time for the ship to get turned around, right? It takes time. We did have a bullish MACD crossover early 2023 on the two-week chart, right? The weekly chart looks like it could be possibly flipping back around, right? Those are lagging indicators, right? It takes time for it to make a move. But on the daily chart, again, the pending buy signal we were talking about flipped bullish on Bitfarm. And I'm going to take a deeper dive on some more Bitcoin mining stocks and crypto assets later tonight. So I'll get that sent out through the free newsletter. Make sure you're subscribed over there, and I'll send it out through YouTube as well. So with that, let's go back through the comments, see if there's anything you want me to chart. Let's see, Kiko, ETF, the ticker for BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETF IBTC has just removed from, okay. I'm not sure if you're wanting me to chart that. FUD, not sure what you're really talking about there. DXY is up. Yep, got it. Talked about it. Let's see. Hopefully you'll still be okay. All right. Good morning. CLSK. I think that's the, let's take a look at that one. I'm pretty sure I have, John, I'm pretty sure I have that one on the watch list. Obviously, but we'll take a look at it here. Okay, so clean spark. Are you already in a position, John, or are you looking to get into a position? So this is Clean Spark Inc. We're back here. Had a candle close back above the trending dots. Trending dots started to flip green, right? Another buy signal here on Monday, followed by a gap up, right? Gapped up to 511. Starting to look bullish on all terms. So maybe this is just a shorter term pullback. Let the trending dots kind of catch up, right? Again, this is one of the ones that has not retested the 200-week moving average in a very, very long time. December 2021. Could we see price finally retest the 200-week moving average? If so, you can eyeball it from 471. It's almost 100% return. It's probably around that 80 to 90% return, very similar to Bitfarms that we just talked about. Let's take a look at the weekly chart. Weekly chart has a pending buy signal, right? So pending buy signal where Bitfarms did not have a pending buy signal. It's still a little bit earlier on Bitfarms, it seems. Excuse me. Pending buy signal on Clean Spark. So if we start to see it flip around bullish, MACD flip around, could be lagging Bitcoin. So if you missed the Bitcoin move, not to worry. There's always new opportunities. That's why we got the opportunity alerts. There's always new opportunities every single day. Clean Spark pending buy signal. Had the buy signal yesterday on the daily chart again, right? MACD is getting into bullish territory on the back above the zero line on the daily chart. You know, it, like I said, it pumped up to about $5.11. The buy signal was at 431 yesterday. When it closed, it was a pending buy signal yesterday. And so, you know, just the quick eyeball test, probably already at like, you know, around target 1, target 2, 3, 4. Price comes up like this. We get a buy signal on the weekly chart as well. Turns these resistance targets into support and then takes off to the upside, possibly retest the 200-week moving average. And then we'll see if it regains it like Bitcoin did and then takes off even further after that. Those are all the possibilities. Those are massive moves. If Bitcoin comes up, hits higher targets, similar, if Clean Spark comes up and hits similar targets to Bitcoin, instead of 25%, probably looking at 100%, 150%, 200%, right? So even bigger potential moves. Javier, can we look at the USD MXN pair? Okay, let me know. Is that what is that? Is that you know, is that like forex? I don't think it's forex. Is that Mex? Oh, okay. Is that USD versus the Mexican peso? Right. Let me see. Is that? Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. USD and then MXN. Right. Mexican peso futures. Yep. Okay. Yeah, we'll take a look at it. Let's see. Is this the right one? It's not letting me select it for some reason. It is forex. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So let me go to forex, right? And then USD MXN. So I'm not seeing your exact pair. So you do have this. You have the MXN USD pair. So maybe you want to look at that one instead. But I don't have the USD Mexican pair on mine. So let's select it here real quick. Let me get rid of this. MXN USD. There we go. There we go. Without hash. Okay, got it. Will that work without the slash? All right, let me just do that then. USD MXN. There we go. All right, now we got it. So yeah, are you in a position right now? Are you watching that right now? And if so, are you looking for a short position? Are you looking? Are you in a buy position? What are you looking at right now? Um, oop, let's go. Let's get off the brush here. Ay, ay, ay. Let's get off the brush here. Kind of lagging here. Okay, so going back to the weekly chart, it is currently bullish on the weekly chart. So let me know the context of it. Are you just looking for like overall direction? Are you in a long position? Are you looking to short it? It is below the 200-week moving average, but it is currently bullish on the week. I'm in a long position. Okay, so it's currently bullish on the weekly chart, right? You got the MACD. It had a bullish crossover on the weekly chart. It's getting into bullish territory above the zero line as well, the weekly chart. But, caution is it is below the 200-week moving average. So many investors believe that, it is, in a bear market until it regains the 200-week moving average. So, thinking that, you still got to be cautious, but it is kind of, it is bullish as of right now. On the monthly chart, there was a reversal candle back here in August, and there's a pending buy signal on the RSI. So there is relative strength gaining. It's getting stronger on the relative strength, right? So on the monthly chart, could end up having a monthly close back above the trending dots, and maybe the bottom is in, right? So it is possible. So that's the higher time frames. It's still currently bearish, but its RSI is back up to 45 on the monthly chart. You can see MACD looks like, it is lagging, but it's possible that with the histogram, it's kind of like starting to flip back around. It's possible that the MACD gets a bullish crossover. It doesn't mean that you couldn't have a couple down months, just like we saw in Bitcoin after the MACD bullish crossover. But the weekly chart is bullish. The monthly chart is starting to gain momentum, and the daily chart is currently bullish, right? So you had a buy signal back here at 17.2. Let's see, back here about 17.24, call it, right? And it's still currently bullish as of now. So just got to be aware that, expect pullbacks along the way. But as of right now, it could have found support here at the trending dots and could continue to trend up while the weekly chart is still bullish. And so that's pretty much what I see. If you look at it from here on the daily chart, there was a little bit of bearish divergence, a little bit of a pullback, and then but now it just made like possible additional bearish divergence. So, just be aware of that. But as of right now, the MACD doesn't have a bearish crossover. Still in bullish territory at the end of the day. So try to push it as long as you can. Also knowing that the weekly chart is bullish and the monthly chart is starting to flip back around. At some point, you can see, come back and retest the 200-week moving average, right? Seems like it's kind of gravitating towards that. It hasn't retested it since September 2022. Seems like it's kind of trending in that direction. Hope that helps, Javier. Can you go over your mapping out process in a stream sometime? I like a refresher. What are you talking about, Johnny C? Are you talking about mapping out the targets? Because I know you're a longtime sniper. Are you talking about mapping out the targets? If so, I wouldn't probably map it out on the public live stream, but I could do another video. But there are a ton of videos on mapping out the targets. And if you're still in recorded coaching, I'm pretty sure you're still in the Discord, but if you're still in recorded coaching, there's videos on mapping out the targets. So that's built just for that. So you can probably just go back and revisit that. Appreciate it, bro. User you, awesome, welcome. Can you have a look at thank you, appreciate it. Can you have a look at ASML, please? Also, BTC pumps, SQ block could be interesting. Yep. So a lot of times Bitcoin will lead the way, and then we look for the lagging assets, whether it's crypto, Bitcoin miners. You could throw in Coinbase. You could throw in one of the ones that we're going to look at tonight to show what possibilities are out there. GBTC, we'll take a look at on the video tonight as well. So ASML, let's take a look. We'll just do all ASML. Is that what you're looking at? ASML holding? Not sure if you are or not. It looks like it could flip bullish on the daily chart in the near future, right? MACD had a bullish crossover trending up towards the zero line. RSI getting stronger on the daily chart. Let's take a weekly look at the weekly chart. The weekly chart is still bearish. It's possible it could flip back around, right? It's possible it's flipping back around. Again, it is a lagging indicator on the weekly chart for sure. It's possible it found support here and is starting to gain relative strength. Too early to call it on the weekly chart. It's possible that it's finding support just above the 200-week moving average. It's possible. It doesn't even have a buy signal yet on the daily chart. So too early to call it, but that's what we're kind of watching there. Square, we can take a look at Square as well. It's already on here. It's already on the watch list. So we do keep an eye on it. No buy signal on Square as of yet, right? No buy signal as of yet, but it could be one of those ones that could be lagging time-wise and could have a pump as well. So yes, very good call there. It is forex, got it. USD MXN, yep, no slash, got it. Thanks to everyone. I appreciate it. It's only, yep, got it. Perfect, thank you. I'm in a long position, awesome. Yeah, I get it. It was for new peeps. Yeah, that's why we recorded 60 plus hours, Johnny C. 60 plus hours. So if people are wanting to take a deep dive, I don't think it's for the public. I think it's for more like, if you want to take a deeper dive, we have all those videos recorded. We did all the work back in early 2022, mid 2022, and continued to put out more videos dedicated towards, all aspects of swing trading. So there's no way we'd be able to do that in the public live streams. We'd have too many questions. It would take 60 plus hours with like 7 live coaching clients versus like hundreds of views and hundreds of people with questions and follow-up questions, and it's just not for that. So Emmanuel, longtime sniper, good morning. Thoughts on ETH and alts? Yep, going to cover it. So far bouncing but pumped by BTC. When do you consider ETH alt season? Probably when like the Bitcoin dominance is done, right? But I wouldn't wait for that, right? Because you're already starting to see like buy signals on. It's a good question. You're already starting to see buy signals on like Ethereum, Cardano. We already saw buy signals on the daily chart. So I wouldn't like wait for like, you're always looking for like these YouTubers and Twitter X app folk that talk about altcoin season, right? Well, by then, like the buy signals are usually already happening. And so you might have already be late to the party waiting for like a major move for altcoin season after like Bitcoin might take a break, right? Because there's already buy signals, right? So I don't know exactly when ETH alt season is, but like I could tell you when like buy signals are happening and when it's becoming more bullish on like higher time frames and stuff like that. So we're going to cover it and get into more detail, but we'll definitely look at Ethereum right now since you asked and we're on here and we've been covering it. But like if you look at it, we're talking about the lows down here and it took out this low, but it was actually bullish divergence, right? So we called out bullish divergence back here. There was a pump, reversal candle, started breaking back down. And we started to see a lot of people start starting to want, especially on the live streams, started seeing a lot of people wanting to short down here, right? And I mentioned this on the live stream, and I've mentioned this many times in the Discord and stuff like that, where, shorting Ethereum, uh, if you go back to like just a quick reminder, like I was more confident at shorting Ethereum at 43.84 when everyone was bullish and there was a fake out at 43.84 in November 2021. I was more confident shorting Ethereum back then with 10x leverage. I was a lot more confident shorting Ethereum with 10x leverage at a 3408 here. Let's see, 3408 when we were talking about it and covering it in the Discord, right? When it was looking like it was putting in a lower high, and I got in at $3,408, and I was calling out for Ethereum to go below $1,000. And in hindsight, it went below $1,000. So from here, I was more confident here, confident. When you're starting to get back down here, right? And after all those shorts, and you got bullish divergence, and you're already at like these lows, right? You become like, even here, you're like more confident. You're more confident. But when it starts getting down in this area, you've heard me talk about this many times before. I'm getting less and less confident to short it. And then the mindset starts to flip back around, like looking for the longs, right? So you got bullish divergence, and you got additional bullish divergence, right? So you got bullish divergence, and you got additional bullish divergence. And then this is looking like a sneaky higher low, right? And then you get a buy signal here at 1604, and then it takes off to the upside. So waiting for someone to call altcoin season while Bitcoin is pumping, while Bitcoin dominance is still very strong on the weekly chart, is not really something I'm interested in. Like, I saw people calling altcoin season mid 2022. They got like 6,000 likes. They added like 30,000 followers, and I was calling BS. I was calling bull crap, right? In June 2022, that we're gonna see like altcoins make all-time highs, right? I was calling BS, and there's no way. But they did what they were doing, and that was they're looking for followers, most likely. Either they're a terrible analyst, right? Or they're looking for whether I think they even put it out in March 2022, right? Either they're really bad at being an analyst, or they're just looking to gain followers, and they did their job. If they're just looking as a influencer to gain followers, they did it. Because I lost followers in the bear market, calling the charts as I see them, that we're going to see price go to the downside, right? Whereas others gained 30,000 followers, gained 100,000 followers, calling for alt season to make all-time highs in 2022. Never happened, right? It never happened. There's a couple that did, but not like overall the entire alt season. So, but if they're just looking for, to gain followers, bullish posts. I always said, in the bear market in 2022, bullish posts get you a lot more followers, get you a lot more engagement. So, but we're willing to sacrifice that to call it as we see it, right? So that's Ethereum. The daily chart's ultra bullish as of right now. The buy signal is back here at 1604. It's regained the 200-week moving average, very similar to Bitcoin. Weekly chart is pending a buy signal, just like we saw on Bitcoin. So is Ethereum going to make and hit higher targets? I'm going to cover all that tonight. So stay tuned. Definitely make sure to check out that video. We're going to cover it tonight, and we're going to get rocking and rolling on some alts, some Bitcoin miners. It's gonna get rocking and rolling. And if you miss Bitcoin, that's okay, right? If you miss Bitcoin, that's okay. Don't be worried about it. I got out of my leverage short position and I didn't take a leveraged long position. In hindsight, would I have liked to? Absolutely, right? I'll be the first one to say, yeah, I wish I was in a leveraged long position. However, my spot Bitcoin is rising in value. Am I gaining more Bitcoin? No, I'm not gaining more Bitcoin, but my spot Bitcoin is increasing as it's continuing up. And I know there's always going to be the next opportunity alert. I know there's always going to be a lagging asset. So if Bitcoin is showing us the way, if GBTC is possibly showing us the way to the upside, there's so much opportunity that hasn't even hit yet. Bitcoin miners, crypto assets. We're going to be rocking and rolling. And this is why we get excited. This is why we're not depressed. This is why we're not worried about it whatsoever. We're going to continue to sniper the markets together and wait for that video tonight. I'm going to rock and roll on that. Let's keep going. Pro bear poster for weeks on BTC. I'm not sure what you're talking about. 6CZ-R1. We're chart to chart, asset to asset, pro bear poster. Not sure what you're talking about. If you're talking about Dow Jones and stuff like that rolling over, absolutely. But we take it chart by chart, asset by asset, and we let the charts tell us what it is. Abbas, hey Jesse, what are your thoughts? If you look at the weekly chart, we just completed a back test for the broken upward triangle. What are you talking about? What asset? Let me know what asset you're talking about. Be happy to cover it for you. Lucasian, woohoo, still going. All right, awesome. Not sure what you're commenting on, what asset, but let's see. But that's pretty much it. If I don't see any other, BTC, Abbas. So let's go back to your question. What are your thoughts? Weekly chart is still completed back to, I mean, it's still bullish on Bitcoin, right? So the weekly chart is still bullish. So as of right now, it's bullish until it's not, right? So it has hit this target longer term. So we could change this on the weekly chart. This is based off of the all-time highs versus the 2022 lows, right? These targets are based off of that. So as of right now, the weekly chart is still bullish, right? We had a MACD bullish crossover on the monthly chart. If you look back here in July, and the MACD is starting to get closer and closer to the zero line. We got so as of right now, you have to kind of expect, pending buy signal on the monthly chart as well, 200-week moving average. So, could see continued higher prices as of now. And then who knows, right before the halving, which is, April 2024, still have 6 more months. At some point, it could hit some higher targets and then come back down and retrace before the halving and then continue upward from there. So it's bullish until it's not on the weekly chart. The last buy signal on the weekly chart and regained it was around 28,000, regained the 200-week moving average, which is currently at 28,400, right? That's Bitcoin. Let's see. Luis, can we look at PL? Yeah, you got it. Looking at a long position on PLTR. Let's take a look at it real quick, and then we're getting close to that 1 hour, so we'll probably call it after that if there's no follow-up questions or additional comments. So let's kind of zoom out here, start over here. Weekly chart. There was bearish divergence in the weekly chart, right? Could have already played out and corrected. It's possible to put in a higher low, right? It's currently still bullish on the weekly chart. Let's see. The MACD hasn't crossed over yet. This could be a low, but it could be a higher low, right? Too early to call it yet. Monthly chart is still currently bullish, right? Let's look at the daily chart. So the daily chart looks like it found support here, right? Bottom, double bottom, right? And then it's still early to call it though, because this was a pretty big move up. It's still possible it comes back down to lower prices, but I'd kind of wait patiently on this one on the daily chart. I mean, always wait patiently, but on this one, it's like kind of watching it where it's mapped out. It's like at some point, right? it's going to regain the trending dots at some point. At some point, they're going to start seeing closes back above the trend line. So it's not as interesting for me, but the weekly chart is still currently bullish. The monthly chart is still currently bullish. So when will the next breakout happen? Will it regain the trending dots and the buy signal flip to it may take a couple of days or a week or so for it to kind of like get flipped back around here. In hindsight, this could be a higher low, right? So you had this bullish divergence back here. Then you had a higher low. This could be another higher low and then possible breakout from there, right? So, but as of right now, if you kind of zoom out, it's just been kind of going sideways since June 2023. So it's harder to get a read on an asset when it's been, for the most part, yes, it had a peak here and a low here, but for the most part, if it's just going sideways, it's harder to get a read on it overall. Memento Mori forever. Thanks for the analysis on ASML and SQ. You got it. Awesome. Well, if there's no other questions, we're right at that 1 hour. Be on the lookout for that video. I'm going to post it through the free newsletter tonight. I'm going to spend some time on it, right? And I'll send it out here through the videos as well. Take a look at it, and I'll make sure to notify everybody. And I will do a deeper dive. It's probably going to take about 20 minutes. We're going to cover some more opportunities for the Bitcoin miners. If you feel like you missed out on Bitcoin, or altcoins too. We're going to look at some altcoins. We'll look at Ethereum, Cardano, Matic, maybe find some ones that might be lagging time-wise that you can still take advantage of the opportunity to the upside, and so on and so on. And is GBTC showing us the way? That's what we're going to take a look at. And we're always going to be looking for the next opportunities. Make sure to smash the likes. Thanks for all of your continued support. And we'll see you on tomorrow's live stream and the video tonight. Thank you. Talk to you later.